Hello and welcome to NerdVsWorld episode 50.
Woo!
Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Nerd.
Yay.
I've been waiting so long to use that film title. I'm Brendan.
I'm Spindles.
And I'm Emma.
Okay, so on today's show, a few quick things, and then we're mostly going to just geek out about Nine Worlds GeekFest, which we've just all come back from and just about survived without conflict. Correct?
Yes.
Don't say that too soon. I can feel my voice going.
Okay, so maybe not survived conflu entirely. Cool.
So yes, yeah, it'll be that, and then we've got some other bits and bobs to go through before we get on to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fire away, good sir.
Okay, so where do you want to start? A couple of trailers?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so we've just watched them just before we've started recording this. Trailer for The Hateful Eight was finally released today, and the new trailer for Doctor Who Season 9.
One of these things I'm very excited about. The other one, not so much.
Really? I'm guessing you're excited about Doctor Who.
I'm excited about Doctor Who, yes. Not so much Hateful Eight. I mean, the trailer looks alright, but A, I don't like westerns.
Okay.
No,
B,
you really don't like westerns.
I'm not a massive fan of Tarantino anymore. Well, I doubt I ever was really a massive fan of Tarantino, but I watched Django Unchained and verged on hating it.
Okay, so yeah, these are all things that would make you not be overly keen on that trailer. Fair enough. I can see that. I can totally see where you're coming from. I, on the other hand, I'm a big Tarantino fan, and I liked the trailer. I liked that it gave away just enough of the plot without giving away too much. That it looks, I think, clean is probably the best word to go for it, or the white, or the colour. And there's a vague feeling of claustrophobia about it in terms of it seems to have a very limited number of sets that they go between.
Yeah, it looks like it's basically a cabin in the woods type
Yeah.
thing, which will endear it to you, won't it, darling? You love cabin in the woods, people keep dying films.
And that worked well for Reservoir Dogs, particularly, with most of that film being set within the warehouse.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what he does with it.
Cool. No, I will not begrudge you watching it, dude.
No.
I'm just not a fan.
Plus, as you mentioned before, Ennio Morricone doing his first original Western score in 40 years for this film.
It was a really nice looking trailer, and I do hate it when trailers show you all the action bits and you think, well, there's no point watching that then. So it was just intrigue, and it was pretty, and it's coming out at Christmas, and you've got a lovely amount of snow.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a nice, probably violent film at Christmas.
Yeah, which is what Christmas needs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Die Hard,
Die
Lethal
Hard.
Weapon, all of those. Yeah.
Gremlins.
Yeah, Gremlins, definitely. I guess, I don't know why he has to make such a big deal about it's the end film from Quentin Tarantino, because he's done that quite a lot now, hasn't he?
What? Didn't say the last film, did it?
Did he not? I thought he made a big deal about the last one being the 7th Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, right, yeah,
movie.
maybe.
And
Yeah.
now it's the 8th
It's the
Quentin
8th.
Tarantino. We can count.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I just think...
The
I think
affectations of an auteur genius.
I think he's vastly overrated.
Ooh. I think this is a future episode, maybe.
Yes, let's not get into that now, but yeah,
Okay.
I think we're very much on different sides of this debate. So.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, you know, nerd culture can't thrive and evolve if people have the same opinions.
Indeed,
so
yeah.
It's totally fine.
Yeah.
We'll just gloss over yours and move swiftly on
Just ignore my opinion and carry on. Yeah, that's fine.
to the Doctor Who trailer then. Because
Yes.
you were clearly excited about that.
I was very, very excited about the Doctor Who trailer. I'm still very interested to find out who Maisie Williams is. It looks, from the look of the trailer there, she's either on some kind of agricultural style planet or not prehistoric, but kind of medieval Earth.
Yeah.
Because she was wearing, rough cut clothes.
Yeah, which
So-
was different to what she was wearing in the first trailer.
It is,
So,
yeah, very much so.
so I almost got the name of the episodes that she's in right last time out, but not quite. It's The Girl Who Died and The Woman Who Lived, I think. That's the two-parter that she's slated to appear in.
Right.
So, yeah. We'll
Cool.
see.
But yeah, I mean, there was some discussion between us as to what the city is towards The kind of, is it the middle of the trailer?
Yeah, just before the middle point in the trailer. It's the rather spherical-looking city.
Yeah.
I'm calling it Escaro.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch some of the original William Hartnell ones when they first get to Skaro, because you see the city a lot from you see kind of distance, wonderful matte paintings of Skaro.
There's something about the architecture reminded me of Daleks, so I think that would be Skaro, but we'll see.
We'll check. Yeah. I'll go back and have an excuse to rewatch An Unearthly Child again.
Fair. Cool.
Right, actually, it's not The Unearthly Child, is it? Because that then goes to prehistoric, doesn't it? I think the first round prehistoric ones.
If I'm honest, it's been so long, I can't remember.
I'm fairly sure the first couple of episodes is like 50,000 BC or something, and then it does the Daleks as the second episode, as the second story, if I recall correctly.
You probably do. I mean, I bow to your knowledge on Doctor Who, so.
And this is where I'll prove to be completely wrong, and I'll be fighting off the hate mail.
Fuck it.
Totally fine. So yeah, it looks interesting, and again, there's that shot of the Doctor on stage with a guitar. I want to see what that's all about. That's the thing that intrigues me probably more than Maisie Williams, is how they get the Doctor on stage with an electric guitar.
Good point.
I'm up for that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We will see in about a month's time.
Yep. Yeah. 19th of September. It's due, which, as Emma rightly pointed out, is the night that we're going to see Rocky Horror in London with Richard O'Brien.
Nice.
So
haven't they just added like Stephen Fry and a few others to that cast as well today? I think like Emma Bunton's been added to that cast.
Ooh.
Okay, we'll have to double check that, because we were sold at the point where it was Richard O'Brien was involved, so we're like, we are there.
We're going to the last night,
Yeah.
the last showing of that run.
So that's on the Saturday, which is coincidentally the same night as Doctor Who. So we'll be spoiler avoiding until we get home.
That's fine. That's cool. You did it last year with the anniversary, didn't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
You're used to it. You're used to avoiding premiere night spoilers, even if it means staying until 3 a.m.
Which we did.
Some of us did.
Well, Megan fell asleep. I watched it. Oh, yeah, no,
I
me
fell
and
asleep.
Megan watched it. You fell asleep. That's right.
Yeah. Because you're just not hardcore enough, Emma.
So yes, that's interesting trailers.
Yep. Any other quick bits to get out of the way?
Do you want to do the announcement about?
About Kaleidocon.
Kaleidocon
Yeah,
first,
we could
yeah.
do that. So, yeah, the guys from Kaleidocon announced on Tuesday that due to low ticket sales and with sadness and regret, they were having to cancel the convention. Which I'm gutted about, because we were looking forward to doing a couple of panels there and meeting people.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, Kaleidocon's been cancelled. So yeah, check the website for details, or the Facebook group if you do have tickets. There's messages on there about they'll get in touch about refunds and so forth, and to get in touch with the hotels and cancel those, which I need to do, amongst other things. So yeah, that's a bit of sad news on conventions, but then we've come back from an awesome convention.
We have. My first Nine Worlds GeekFest experience, and it was phenomenal. I loved
It's
every
our
second of
first
it.
full one, but we only went for the Saturday day last year,
Yeah.
so it's our first weekend there as well. So, what did you make of it then, sir?
Well, I really, really enjoyed myself. Once I got over the initial nerves, once I got over being overwhelmed, because it's quite an overwhelming experience. Like, so many people in a relatively sort of enclosed space to mill around in.
It's a fairly overwhelming environment as well, because it's in the Radisson Blue at Heathrow, and the layout isn't the most obvious when you first get there, with the different levels and things I've found, and the fact that you got to go around the back sometimes, and there's all bits that you find throughout the weekend.
I don't know, I was alright with that.
You were fine.
Reading the map was fine. You know, it's talking to someone, asking them for help. That was the difficult part.
Okay, I mean, 'cause I think when we went last year, we found it difficult to get our heads around where stuff was and what was going on and how it all worked.
Just
And,
finding some of the little rooms, I
Yeah.
think, was a challenge.
and there was still a bit of that when we went back this year, but
That Newbury one wasn't labelled, so we had to ask for that, but we found it in the end.
But no, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Very, very good.
Should we do our day by day?
yeah, cool. Okay, well,
Cool.
do you want to start with your Friday?
My Friday started at 10 o'clock in the morning with a panel called Why Whedon Matters, which was all about justifying our obsession with Joss Whedon, as if we need a reason to justify our obsession with Joss
So
Whedon.
go on, what were the reasons?
Well, the reasons given by people in the audience were like his innovative approach to writing, his characters, the humour, the world building, all these aspects. It was a very interactive discussion. I mean, I kept pretty quiet, but people were shouting out their favourite Joss Whedon lines, and the guide, host, lecturer, whatever you want to call him, that was moderator. That'll do. That was leading the panel. Engaged well. It was nice. It was weird. Made the whole convention seem part sci-fi convention, part lecture circuit for academics. That was where I spent most of my time over the weekend, if I'm honest.
What was the Whedon track?
And like the academic stuff.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting, and like it brought up interesting points that I'd obviously always been aware of, but never really put a name to, like Whedon's concept of the chosen family, which permeates a lot of his work. I was there watching this presentation, thinking I could go home and write a paper on this, and thinking, yeah, you're at a convention, Brendan. Have fun. Stop thinking about papers that you're going to write about things. But the fact that Buffy comes from a broken home and like she has the Scooby Gang around her, and there's an argument to be made that the reason that this Slayer lives so long is because she has this family that support her. And the same dynamic appears in Firefly. The crew of Serenity are their own little family. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has it again. Yeah. And the Avengers. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, ooh, chosen family. I like this term. I like this concept. I must go and investigate this more.
Yeah, also, yeah, that's prevalent in Dollhouse as well. Yeah.
So yeah, that was interesting. That was the first thing. Because I had to wait around a while, because my check-in for the hotel was 2:00, so all my stuff was in the car, and I had to wait. But
we had that same problem.
I'm trying to think what my second thing was that day. Oh, then I bumped into Sue, who was cosplaying as Tiny Tina. And then that's just kick-ass.
With the giant bazooka.
Man, it was huge.
There are pictures, they'll be going out probably along with the YouTube video, and I've got a bunch to put up on the Facebook page.
That thing was bigger than she was.
Yeah, it actually was.
It literally was.
Yeah. But yeah, the amount of tokens, I'm surprised she could walk. She was weighed down with tokens that much.
110 tokens, I think.
It was very impressive.
Yeah. So yeah, after that we hung out for a bit, and then we went to Emma Newman's newbie meetup. And we got there, and all the chairs are arranged in like this giant square. And I was wondering, is this some sort of intervention, or is it a meetup? Do you just go in and stand up and say, "Hi, my name's Brendan, and I'm a nerd. Hi, Brendan." But no, we sort of moved the chairs into little groups. And then me and David ended up holding the doors open for like the last 20 minutes because it got so fucking hot in that room.
Right.
We just stood by the doors, just leaning against them because we couldn't find anything else to prop the doors open with. But it was cool. There was tea.
Yes, yeah.
And biscuits.
We went to it last year, but it was in the bar, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And they just brought along kind of carafes of tea.
Nice.
So, yeah.
They didn't. They were meant to have big urns for tea, but they didn't come. So they were using a kettle, and they're making like cups of tea, like 3 at a time. They're getting more water, boiling another kettle. But yeah, I got some badges, and I ate some cake.
Yay!
Yeah, it was a good way to settle into the convention, to be honest.
Absolutely.
After that, my Friday was going back and checking into the hotel, chilling the fuck out for a while, and then heading back in for the Whedon sing-along.
So that's kind of when we converged, really. So shall we?
Well, we converged at the point where we met with Sue and everything, didn't we? Yeah.
Because you got there about 11:30ish, didn't you? You weren't that late.
Yeah.
You did a panel.
So yeah, mine wasn't quite a gentle introduction as that. I got there and was shoved on stage. So yeah, I took part in the panel on neurohacking with my software developer head on. Which was an interesting panel. I didn't have an awful lot to say because the main guy who was there was presenting kind of his work that he's done on neurohacking, and the rest of us were there to kind of provide a bit of colour commentary, ask some questions, and talk about the potential implications and potential applications of the kind of neurotechnology that he was showing. So it was an interesting talk. The guy he's a very, very interesting guy. He's very quirky and it zaps his brain a lot. Both reads and zaps his own brain.
And there was an opportunity afterwards to zap your own brain.
Indeed, yes, you could follow him upstairs, and he was doing actual demos on the neurohacking.
Okay.
You could get yourself hooked up to machines and have your brain zapped.
Wow. Is that like a, do you want to see my etchings type of chat up line?
Well, apparently he had...
He had a rather large paddle.
Well, he had
I'm sure he did.
2 colleagues back at wherever it was that he worked that were there, and it was about hooking up with them across the internet and creating a mind space.
Fuck me.
So that,
I'm glad you were on that panel and I wasn't. Man alive.
but that was kind of cool. And I came out of it kind of wanting to get hold of some of the sensors and try and write a mind-controlled version of something like Breakout or Pong or something like that. Apparently Pong has already been done. I've been reliably informed they had a demo of that last year, so I'm going to do Breakout instead. I'm going to buy some of the sensors and I'm going to make mind-controlled Breakout.
Yes,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, you too can have neurosensors for around £50
Yeah,
that you
around
can buy from China.
40-50 quid, you order them from China, and you too can zap your own brains in the comfort of your own home.
Wow. Just in time for Christmas, folks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So yeah, I will put the links to the various presentations, and we've got the full video of that panel, so we'll be putting that whole video out.
That's cool.
Of that panel at some point.
There you go. That's a gift idea from NerdVsWorld.
Yeah, absolutely. What to get for the person who has everything? Get them something to zap
Zap
their
their
own
brain.
brains. And the software to go along with it. That's the cool part. It's all open source Java, so I will be getting hold of that and writing stuff for it.
So yes, after that we went back to the hotel, didn't we?
And well, again, we bumped into
I bumped into Brendan checking in.
Brendan and Sue and everyone.
Then we departed again for...
We went back also for the Whedon sing-along.
Sing-along!
Which was awesome, but also very weird.
It wasn't what we were expecting.
Not what I was expecting,
Yeah.
no. I thought they'd play the episode of Buffy and we just sing along with the episode. I didn't realise it would be a guy on a keyboard playing the score as an accompaniment to people on stage singing. That kind of weirded me out. But it was awesome.
But then you got into the flow of it.
Yeah.
And they were all acting out the story of
Yeah.
Dr. Horrible, and it was genius.
It was. It was really, really good fun. And the costumes were awesome. And if you were in a Dr. Horrible costume, you were dragged up regardless. I was like, fuck, I haven't cosplayed.
You would have made a good Buffy.
Thanks, it's the legs, right? But yeah, that was cool. That was super weird, but super cool. It's one of those things I just don't think you can adequately describe how awesome it is unless you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so it was the whole of Dr. Horrible sing-along blog, and then all the musical numbers from Once More with Feeling.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. And yeah, so again, there were... I'm trying to think whether there were several of any of the characters there for that.
It was a really good Spike.
The Spike was
The Spike
excellent.
was kick-ass.
She was really
cool.
cool.
There was 5 Dr. Horrible.
There were
There was.
5 Dr. Horrible.
There was
at least 4 Captain Hammers.
Yeah.
One of which was Thor, which I found very amusing.
There were a few Gileses. Gileses? What's the plural of Giles?
Giles.
Giles I?
Giles.
Giles of us?
It's like sheep and sheep. Giles.
Giles, fair enough. Yeah, there was quite a few of him. There was an entire family of Buffys, which was pretty cool. They all went as a different Buffy, which I thought was awesome. Yeah. Good fun.
So yeah, we did the Whedon sing-along, and then it was the highlight of Friday night, which was well worth the hour and a half's queue.
Fuck me, the queue was ridiculous. But yeah, totally worth it for Nightmare Live.
Nightmare Live. Which we found out at the very last minute had Jonathan Green as one of the...
It's one of the guides.
Yeah. So, very cool.
You described Nightmare Live. So I think in general you would have the Dungeoneer and the people directing him from the audience, but in this case I think they were pre-chosen to be Jonathan Green and a few other people, weren't they?
Well, Jonathan Green, I'm not sure who the other lady was.
Can't remember.
I can't remember, but we'll find out. And that'll be pictures of it kicking around.
Yeah. Speaking of Jonathan Green, it's almost time for his annual visit to NerdVsWorld, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah. So we'll have to get him back on the show and discuss probably gaming or something this time, I imagine. But a quick plug for him while I'm here is that his new anthology came out today, which is Game Over, which I submitted a story to and it didn't make the cut. So damn you, Green!
But we're still going to promote your book anyway.
Damn me, because it just
it needed another draft.
It did need another draft.
Fair enough, that's all right. But yeah, Nightmare Live. Back to that.
Yes. So Nightmare Live. It was so you had Treeguard and you had Lord Fear, who were all there in their costumes, and you had a couple of extra helpers who played the various people they ran into along the way.
Yep.
And there were giant dragons, and there were traps, and there was spell casting, and there was knapsacks and satchels.
There were floating heads.
Yes, giant floating talking heads. And shouts ringing out all night of, "You're in a room!"
It was hilarious.
It was absolutely brilliant.
I mean, the 8-year-old in me just fucking loved it.
It was very, very funny.
Yeah.
And all off the cuff comedy around, there's a central plotline, but you can never say that everything was ultimately scripted. It was a lot of improvisation too.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm not even sure who the adventurer was. Apparently he was a YouTuber, but I don't know.
Well, you couldn't really see who it was because he had a giant...
But he was introduced.
Yeah, I suppose.
So again, I'll have to find out who that was, and then we'll put that in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really, really good. It was well worth the wait. It was excellent. So if you ever do get the chance to go and see Nightmare Live, I'll thoroughly recommend it.
Well, the touring scene, we'll put the tour dates in the show notes, so check it out.
The next show I know about is in Newbury on the 16th of September.
There you go.
Cool. But I think they've got 3 shows coming up, but we'll put all the show notes in the show, so it's fine. Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, that was awesome. And then...
I bailed after that. As soon as that was finished, I was shattered, so I just crashed for the night.
We weren't long after that. We went into...
Rebellion and then...
Was it, yeah, that's not Rebellion, was it?
Sorry.
I've forgotten the name of the publishing company now. Is it Galance?
Glance? Yeah.
Yeah. It was their 10-year party.
Oh, cool.
I think it's Galance, because they're owned by Rebellion. I can't remember if that's correct or not, but there was a party in there, and we wandered in, said hello to a few people, and then we bailed then as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was Friday.
That was Friday, and that was awesome. I managed to win my blue badge for the entire day.
Ah, yes.
The badge system.
Do you want to explain the badges?
Yeah, they had a colour-coded badge system, which red badge said stop, please don't, I don't want to talk to anyone right now. An orange badge that said only talk to me if I already know you, and a blue badge that said hello, please talk to me. So, yeah, I wore the blue one just to try and push myself out there. But I think my face did the job of the red badge well enough for like the entire weekend. I was like, I'm wearing a blue badge, talk to me. I was like, no one wants to talk to me. Aww.
Blue lanyards did the same thing, and you had a yellow lanyard if you didn't want to be photographed.
Yes.
Okay, right, I didn't realise that. Yeah, I had a blue lanyard, so that was fine. But still, that was all cool. I've kept the red badge so that I can bring it into work. So when a student walks up to me, I can just point to the badge. Like, nope.
Talk to the badge.
Talk to the
face
badge.
ain't listening.
Yeah.
Cool, so that was Friday.
That was Friday.
That was Saturday morning.
Saturday morning, that started at 10 for me with a Being a Geek in Academia panel, which was quite interesting. It was nice to know that people are managing to combine sort of geeky passions and tendencies with sort of academic progression, through PhD and beyond. One of the panelists was doing her PhD on Disney princesses, which I thought was pretty cool.
Awesome.
They didn't go into what they were doing their stuff on so much, but more on how they got into it and how they got into academia, how they dealt with the stresses of academia and how academic minds are typically more susceptible to depression and stress and how they cope with that, which I found interesting because obviously my master's is on deferment at the moment because of exactly that, because of stress. And my master's is fairly geeky in that it's music and streaming tech and the impact on music significance in forming genre and subcultural roles. So yeah, I had a good chat with someone about that afterwards, but not during the panel. That was cool. That was my first panel on the Friday.
On Saturday.
Saturday rather, yeah. Saturday, sorry. Yeah. What was your first panel?
It was, again, the one that I got on stage for, which was the podcast games.
Oh yeah, because I came to that afterwards. Because you clashed with Joe Abercrombie doing a book signing,
Yes.
and you don't know how close I came to not going to the podcasting and supporting you. It was a last minute thing. I was like, oh, do I go and support my co-host, or do I get stuff
Or do you
signed?
indulge your man crush?
Do I get Joe Abercrombie to sign all the things? And his started later. I needed to sit down, so I came to the panel. It was hilarious. But yeah, go ahead, talk about this, because this was so much fun to watch.
Well, yeah, so there was the podcast games where there were representatives from several different podcasts there. We were split into two teams. I was with Barry from
Geek
Geek Syndicate. And I forget the other guy's name who did the Fantastic Cast about the Fantastic Four. And yeah, so we were team Where's the Bar, or something to do with the bar, or
Where's the
Raising the Bar.
It was Where's the Bar.
Or yeah, the name kind of changed all the way through it. But again, we recorded the whole thing, so that will go out at some point as a full recording, and you can.
It's well worth listening
you
to.
can listen to the hilarity yourselves.
Okay. Yeah.
Of the struggle over adversity and team building and inevitable betrayals and
The third act redemption. He was a legend though.
Indeed. So yeah.
But I was put in a really tricky position.
Yes, you were. Yeah.
Because if either panel couldn't get the answer to a question, it was offered to the audience, and if the audience got it, the opposing team, so the one who was initially asked the question, got the point. And to my shock, Spindles was asked
on
a
a
Blade Runner question.
I did. I
couldn't get the answer.
Well, I couldn't. All I had running through my head was Wayland Yutani,
Yeah.
and I could not shift that from my head at all.
And I was caught between my ego telling me to make sure everybody in the room knew that I knew the answer, and not giving the opposing team a point. It was a tough one.
It was a tough one, but you
one.
made the right call, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I didn't cripple you. Your own team were good enough at crippling you.
So yes,
Yeah.
well the spoilers are out there of how it all ended up. But if you'd like to stay in suspense, then wait until we've released the full thing, and you can hear the entire proceedings yourselves.
It's well worth a listen.
So I think we will be back next year, and hopefully Brendan will be.
Oh, I'm
representing
so up
next
for
year
it.
instead
I'm
of
so
me.
up for being on that podcast panel. Yeah. No, and next year, if I have a brain fart whilst I'm on the panel, you can rip me about it mercilessly afterwards.
And also show solidarity and not give the other team the point.
Yeah. But I won't get an answer wrong. Cool. So that took us up to about 1:30, I think.
That was 1:15. I think we finished off on that one.
I can't remember what I did after that. I'm having a look.
I think we decided that. Well, I think we tried to go to something and it was full.
Yes,
So we decided to go for lunch.
We tried to go to the Game of Thrones, but when the room is full. They won't allow people to stand because of fire issues.
Mm-hmm.
So we turned up just a little bit too late. So we ended up getting some lunch. Which lunch, unfortunately, the hotel bar didn't have a con menu.
Well, yeah, it did. I think
so
last year they had a special menu that it was like £10 or something for a burger and chips or a pizza or something like that. But then it just had the normal menu, and it was ridiculously expensive. So we decided to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shame, but
It's located next to McDonald's. So
Yeah.
McDonald's it was.
so McDonald's it was.
I ate so much McDonald's over that weekend.
Yeah.
Well, given the
But I
choice between a £17 bar meal and McDonald's, it's not.
Yeah, I paid £11 for a fucking JD and Coke.
Yeah, I remember your face on the first night when you came back. I went, that was £12.
Including a £1.25 service charge, and they left us sat at the bar for 5 minutes while they went to his magical back room. He was like, JD and Coke. I was like, cool. He put the glass out and like had everything ready to go. He was like, I'll be right back, and then just disappeared. then came back, put like ice in the glass and some Jack, and then gave me the bottle of Coke. It's like, for $1.25, you can fucking pour the Coke in for me. Like, you're making me do half your job here.
This is the staff sucked last year as well. I once sat there and watched for 15 minutes while two people at the end of the bar had a conversation when I was obviously there trying to look at them and engage them to come over.
I think this is it's one thing about about this convention. Well, I don't think it's the convention that's the problem. I think it's one thing about the hotel staff there at the Radisson Blu. I think their service levels are appalling.
Oh, I didn't really have that much issue. I mean, the bar, yes.
At the bar, yeah.
But I only went in there the once, and I never went back after that. But the guys at reception and the concierge, they were fantastic.
The reception were great, but yes, it was the bar that was the problem, and the fact there was only one member of staff on the sandwich queue.
Oh,
So that at lunchtime you ended up queuing over half an hour just to pick up a packaged sandwich.
I mean, the con bar that they had upstairs seemed to have random times of when it was open. It was open at some point during the day, then it closed, and then it opened again for a couple of hours at night, then it closed again. I think I went there to get a beer from it at about 11, and it was just shut and gone, and it was like, okay. And there was entertainment going on until 2 in the morning, and then I wandered downstairs, and the queue for the bar downstairs was out the door.
Yeah, it must be a staffing issue.
So yeah, that's definitely a downside for it, but everything else that goes on there more than makes up for it. You just it's not a con that you go to for lots of beer.
No, or coffee. Water. There's as much water as you can drink. It's great.
Yeah.
But
that was cool. Actually, I appreciated that.
Point. Especially when the hotel is as hot as it is.
Yeah.
Because it was a heat wave when we went. It was insanely hot outside, wasn't it? Yeah. But the fact that you can get water and you can stay hydrated all day is a massive bonus.
Yeah, that was very, very cool. I did appreciate that. You just took my bottle of water up and it was fine. Yeah.
So we're at lunch.
Yes, so...
I went to the second newbie meetup upstairs by Forbidden Planet by this store.
Right, yeah.
They had more tea, so I went back for more tea.
Yay, for more tea!
And then I was going to go to the Rise of Esports, but I got talked into going to a conversation with... I'm trying to remember her name, Naomi Alderman, that was her name, about addressing bias. It was part of the geek feminism track.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I got as much out of that panel as I was hoping to, because she was saying about how when she writes, she plots a graph so that she literally has like 4 male characters, 4 female characters, and when she first started writing and getting published, she'd take her stories to publishers and they'd say, oh no, it feels unbalanced towards the women, so you have too many. So she would actually break it down and say, no, actually I have 4 and 4, so it's perfectly equitable. And I'm just... something like that didn't sit right with me. Just because numerically you have the same number as male and female characters, that doesn't make it equitable. Because you could have like 4 female characters who are bit parts, not really in there a lot, and 4 male characters who have agency and character arcs and sort of are driven by stuff. And if you're saying just the sheer quantity is enough, but the quality isn't, I mean, by her definition, that's still equitable in terms of the gender split.
That's not.
And it's not.
It's about dialogue, what sort of personalities they have.
I think it's just something fundamentally weird about the generation we are now and how tech and internet has shaped us. We are so concerned and driven by stats. We can look at stats and quickly make an assumption that things have either got better or got worse on a previous year's version of stats. But quantitative data gives us nothing in terms of quality. And that didn't seem to be addressed at all throughout this entire panel.
Okay.
She says she starts out by writing white male characters and then flips them.
Okay.
It's very odd.
Yeah, I'm probably missing the point entirely of that panel. I don't know, but for me, it wasn't enough to have literally 4 male characters, 4 female characters. that's not enough for gender equality.
I don't see why a female would start out writing a strong male character and then just flip the sex. I mean, surely
Well,
a female can write a strong female character to be a female.
From what I can remember, from my understanding of what you were saying, the reason she starts with the template of a white male character is because there's nothing that character can't do. When she thinks of a white man and white male privilege, which is an undeniable thing that does exist, she can write that character, and then at the end she can change it around a bit.
Okay, so she's kind of tricking herself into writing it.
Yeah. She's not limiting the characters she develops by limiting them by gender and ethnicity at the start. She just creates a character based on the white male and then flips them and does them that way. So her writing so she approaches it without the bias of the template she's writing for.
Right. Okay.
I think that's probably the most cogent way I can get that across right now.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Which I thought was interesting. It's certainly an approach. As long as she doesn't miss out on the qualitative aspects of character development. But yeah, that was that. And that was my last panel. I think me and Sue left after that panel and just like, did you get anything out of that? No. She's with a big fucking bazooka over her shoulder. No.
Strong female characters come from, I would have said a different place, but if that's a style, then that's great.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that's it. She was talking about her style and her approach.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I had no issues with that at all. It seems to work for her, and she's done a lot of stuff with this Zombies Run. I think that's what she writes. But breaking it down to a 4v4 split and claiming equity doesn't tell the whole picture.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, at that point, then you went off for your water dancing with the very lovely Miltos.
I did indeed.
Go on then, tell everyone about that.
We went into a room which is called Newbury 1, which is a very beautiful atrium. It's got marble floors, it's got two pools of koi carp, and it's all on different levels and goes up about 3 floors, and it has beautiful buildings. So it's a really, really lovely space, and you can hear the water flowing through. And in that, we were as a pay extra, we'd organised to do water dancing with Miltos, who was Syrio Forel in Game of Thrones and taught Arya how to water dance. This apparently came about because once upon a time he was on a panel, I think at EasterCon, and he was talking about Game of Thrones, and he was a bit embarrassed because George R.R. Martin was in the audience, and he said, I don't know quite why I'm sat on this panel talking about Game of Thrones when he sat down there, and it's all a bit embarrassing. So then George R.R. Martin stood up and said, well, why don't you teach them how to water dance then? And somebody said, well, that's a brilliant idea, let's do that. So he got roped into doing it. After that, he realised that he really, really enjoyed doing these workshops, and it's something that he's really come to love. So he does tend to do a few workshops in different conventions. So you only get small groups of people, about 20, and you get in a room and you learn about, how to do realistic stage fighting. You end up with, instead of a sword, you get a large broom handle, and you...
Technically, it's a hand bow.
It is a hand bow, but it was... they'd forgotten to provide that in the morning, so I think they've just gone off to being cute and cut some lengths of wood in the meantime. So we actually did have the lengths of wood for ours. But it looks a little like a broom handle. And it's very heavy, and then you have to shut your eyes, and he places it into your hand, and you have to try and feel the balance. And then he teaches you through, striking and blocking, And then we were doing it over and over again, striking and blocking, and one person, then another person. And we learnt that way, and he'd come and do instruction with each of us as he walked around. And then we all sat down and ended up calling up different of the couples to practice and to give instruction. And it went on for about an hour and a half, which, I came out of it with my legs were a bit achy, my arms are a bit achy, because I'm not used to holding a large
piece of wood
with it at the end and unbalanced.
Waving it at people.
And at the end, we all received a wooden dagger and sheath, and he signed them all and posed for selfies. And it was rather wonderful.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I got some pictures and some videos of that, so they will be going out either separately, and if you're listening / watching this on YouTube, you will probably have seen these videos as that was all taking place through the magic of technology.
You're doing a montage.
Yes,
Sweet.
absolutely. A training montage.
Everyone needs
no
a
less.
montage.
But yeah, he was really lovely, because we bumped into him again on Sunday as we were getting ready to leave, and said hi. And he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he says, if you see me, come up and talk to me in the bar. So yeah, he was very lovely. I did mean to go to a Game of Thrones panel, but the room sizes were always a bit small, and there's so much going on. There's so many different tracks that even if you desperately want to go and do something, there might be something else.
Yeah, I guess this is kind of for the kind of roundup of it, that there's it's the con is what you make of it, depending on what you want to go to.
And I've just seen that we've missed something that we did on Saturday.
Have we?
Ooh.
Yeah, before that was the fantasy versus sci-fi battle.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. So I've actually got the con schedule here, and I'm going through it. See what we missed.
Yes, I'd forgotten about that. So yes, Joe Abercrombie and Gareth Powell and a few other people
Rebecca Levine
arguing the great debate of sci-fi versus fantasy.
I mean, I totally agree with Gareth Powell. I think Gareth Powell absolutely mic dropped all over it.
As far as I'm concerned, he nailed
everything about it.
Sci-fi should have won.
But such a Joe Abercrombie fan. I had to cheer fantasy all the way.
I stuck to my guns and cheered sci-fi, so well done, Mr. Powell. In my opinion, you won.
I clapped politely for sci-fi and told Gareth Powell that he was right, and I completely agreed with him, but I cheered loudly for fantasy. Because I'm a fucking turncoat. And I regret nothing. Fantasy won.
So that means, yes, fantasy are now 2-1 up.
Yeah. And that was meant to be the decider, but it's not going to be.
They said they'll probably do it again next year, so we'll
yeah.
see whether sci-fi can pull level next year.
It was so much fun just to watch them go at it. All 4 panellists were great. I thought the other sci-fi panellist was slightly more serious than the other 3 panellists were. The other 3 seemed to really take it in the spirit, and she seemed very serious. She made some really excellent points.
She definitely knew her stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The authors
God,
that she was quoting and the various bits and bobs she was talking about.
She knew what she was talking about. Right.
The great thing about...
I think she just wanted to win. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
And fair play, I can respect that.
The great thing about these panels is that you know that they don't really think the things that they're saying. They're just doing it as a debate to win from their side.
Yeah.
It's great fun.
You have to take it all tongue-in-cheek, because in a panel where Doctor Who is classed as fantasy rather than sci-fi.
Yeah, and a panel where Star Wars
is classed as fantasy instead of sci-fi. So, yeah.
But it is.
Wow.
And, but Gareth Powell's one word response to everything was Ripley. It was now, did we break for lunch then, or was there something that I've missed that we went to?
I think we had to go home after the water dancing.
After the water dancing, yeah, because we had to go and get changed, and get food, and then come back for the night. So I don't know whether you did anything in the interim, but I think from 3:15 to 4:45 was your water dancing, and then 4:45 we went off to get food. Or to get changed and then go and get food.
Then we had to run back for 8.
And we had to run back for, it was 8:30. Well, we had to get back for 8 so we could get in the room.
Yes.
for the Great Whedon quiz.
Oh, was that? Oh yeah, that was that day, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, we sucked so badly.
We didn't come last.
Yeah, not last was like
we came not last.
we came
people.
not last.
Not
Yeah.
last.
There was one team worse than us. I was feeling so confident as well. I was like, give me all this obscure Firefly stuff. I fucking know it. And then nothing on Firefly. It was basically a Buffy quiz.
It was a lot
Yeah.
of Buffy.
A lot of Buffy in there.
Monster of the Week in Buffy. It's like, how do I know? It was 15 years ago.
Yeah. Oh no, it was ridiculous. Made me want to go home and watch Buffy again. It's something that happens every 6 months or so. But never actually get around to it. But yeah, oh no, I was ashamed at my lack of knowledge. It was one of those quizzes where we'd give an answer. We'd have two answers between us, and we chose the wrong answer pretty much
We did
every
that a
single
lot.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Emma got a couple right that we just flat overruled you. Like, no, Gangnam's stupid. It's got to be soul.
Gotta be
It's soul
soul,
music,
yeah.
remember? And as it was Gangnam. Fuck! We done. But yeah, I'd almost blanked that from my mind. Because I'm looking at this schedule going, I was in before 8, and yet only a moment wasn't until 10. What did I do,
did I do
between 8
We
and
sat in a
10?
room and got battered
Just-
by Whedon questions for an
And
hour
you
and a half.
sang bingo.
Oh, we sang, yeah, Bingo. That was our go-to song whenever there's a queue,
Yeah.
which I'm not going to sing now.
No. No.
But I'll put a link to a fairy tale, to an Instagram version of it in the show notes. You can watch that instead.
And then after that, it was Only a Moment.
Only for a moment.
Which apparently the BBC served a cease and desist on
Yeah.
them for doing just a minute.
So
Which
essentially,
is why it's called Only
Yeah.
a Moment.
essentially, it's the Radio 4 quiz show, Just a Minute. But yeah, the BBC had sent cease and desist, so they had to rename it. So they renamed it Only a Moment.
That was what he said
But
when he came on
yeah.
stage at first.
But Paul Cannell's been doing that.
Weekender hasn't been pulled up yet.
Give it time.
This is when next year we get there and it's 60 seconds.
And that was an interesting panel. That was as funny as it's always been.
Yes.
It was very, very
Yeah.
funny. I do really like that format. It's a really brilliant format.
I can remember the first time I saw that was SFX 3.
Mm.
And that was one of the highlights of my weekend. That's like going back 4 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 years. So yeah, that was cool. It was probably the best way to round off that particular day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was nice. It was funny. It was good.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
And Joe Abercrombie won it.
Indeed, he did. So you went to bed happy.
Yeah. Sorry, utter man crush.
It's fine, dude. I think pretty much everybody came away from this weekend with a Joe Abercrombie crush.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So you saw him on 2 panels that day.
And a signing.
No, not
No,
signing.
I came to see you instead of the signing.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
He was loyal.
He was loyal.
I really need to sit down. That's what it was. There was nowhere to sit apart from in that room. No, I was being loyal.
Cool. So
Honest.
that was Saturday.
Yeah.
And then Sunday.
Sunday. Well, Sunday we did the podcast, right, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, you caught the one before. The one
Yeah.
before I arrived.
Can't stop the signal about boosting your podcast. Nothing we didn't know.
Yeah.
You know. Wow, that sounded really dismissive and big-headed. Didn't mean it like that. They just talked about stuff that we're practicing to some degree or another.
So validation for
yeah.
us.
Yeah, it was kind of sat there going, oh, thank God I'm not wasting my time.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm kind of doing stuff right. The pros are telling me to do this sort of stuff, and I'm kind of doing this sort of stuff, so sweet.
Excellent.
Fine.
Good stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then it was the future of new media, that was an interesting discussion.
Really interesting discussion.
So it was an interesting discussion on kind of where new media is going, and a lot of it seemed very much around the topic of rights and fan fiction and who owns what with fan fiction and who's allowed to do what, and about kind of rights holders for franchises allowing people to come in and write fan fiction within their universes and opening it out to officially say yes, you're allowed to write it, but post it here,
Yeah.
and then that's something that they own, and it becomes part of the universe.
Yeah, that was mentioned to an extent. That wasn't my big takeaway. I don't know anything about fanfic, so they were asking a lot of fanfic questions. I was like, I had no idea this was so big.
Oh yeah, it's massive.
Yeah,
And
I had no idea.
It's interesting now because the reason why a lot of the big license holders are allowing it now, instead of cease and desisting people who are writing fanfic, is because they're churning out content that's about that universe, and it's dragging more people into the universe by providing more fiction within that franchise.
Yeah, I guess that's what's great about Nine Worlds, is that at some point you're going to be exposed to something you didn't know existed or didn't know enough about, and you're going to learn something, which again goes back to the whole part sci-fi convention, part lecture circuit.
Yeah.
I think my takeaway from that was the breakdown that old media seems to like to have, like, infants its content, whereas new media is more open borders, and that I could work with someone in America on a script for a BBC TV show, quite open, without borders or restrictions. But if we wrote that show and it was filmed and put on the BBC, my colleague in America couldn't watch it on the iPlayer without some kind of proxy bypass.
Yeah.
So where I would have liked to see the panel head after that was a discussion of how we get old media to embrace new media, and the distribution and creation possibilities that it allows. And something we've spoken about a number of times on this podcast is, why do we even have territorial releases?
Yeah.
Why do we release something here and then release it a week later in the States or 2 months later in Australia? Why is Spotify only now just getting to Australia? That's that sort of thing. It makes no sense in a globally connected...
It makes no realistic sense, but the answer is money. It's always money.
Yeah, well, even then, I mean, WWE streams Raw live. Different providers will pick up Raw and show it live in their particular countries, and the adverts are tuned for those countries.
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily going to lose advertising revenue. It can be done. They can customise their adverts for the particular country.
Oh yeah, it can definitely be done.
It's just not being done. And I can't really see a legitimate reason for that restriction.
Well, again, the legitimate reason for it is because, say, like Channel 4 buys something from America, they want to show it at their peak time, not at ridiculous o'clock in the morning.
Okay, yeah.
So they want to charge more.
And the problem with iPlayer is the fact that we pay licensing fees, but if they did a version in America, which was iPlayer, that had adverts in it, that would work.
Yeah. Well, there's solutions, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, there are solutions, yeah, but ultimately it comes down to money. It always does. It's about who holds the rights for it in whichever countries and how they want to display that content. There was an interesting discussion as part of that panel, which is about the different mindsets in whether in kind of purchasing old things in an old-fashioned way and subscription models, which was the conversation of, when you go to a shop to buy a DVD, you look around, you choose, and then you make your choice, and then you come back with that thing, and you spent your £15 on your thing, and that's your reward there for what you've done. Whereas with a subscription model, you pay up front, and then you go hunting for that amount of money's worth of content.
Yeah. I thought that was incredibly interesting, and the psychological attachment that comes with buying something physical.
Yeah.
And how the wiring in our brain is being changed now by subscription models. I thought that was incredibly interesting.
It was really interesting about it, and if he's coming on the show, then hopefully we'll get to have that discussion.
I mean,
as someone more in depth.
As someone whose entire bachelor's dissertation was creating a streaming model for the music industry, and also someone who prefers to have a physical comic book, that dichotomy of where my mind is at is kind of interesting. But yeah, hopefully we'll have Answer on the show and he can come and explain it to me in terms I understand.
An interesting discussion.
Well, because we have many different streaming services.
Well, that's it, yeah.
Sometimes we can forget that Netflix exists for a month or two. but you still
Most of the time we forget that Amazon Prime exists until something goes, hey, it's exclusive Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Like Constantine.
I just started watching Vikings. I thought, what's everyone talking about this show for?
Yeah.
Let's give it a watch. And I've like just
Have you binge watched the whole thing?
binge watched
Yeah, it's awesome.
We did.
We did all 3 seasons.
So it's something else start and then we'll binge watch a load of stuff and then we'll forget it's there again because we go in and go, oh, not interested, and then we forget about it and do something else.
I'm the worst kind of human being. I bought 13 books over the last 3 days. I've done nothing but watch Vikings on Amazon instead. It's just, I suck.
we fall into that category that Joe Abercrombie was talking about the people who buy his books and don't read them. Because we've got his books and we've never read them.
Well, a friend of mine lent me The Blade itself and the rest of the First Law trilogy years ago, and I loved them. And so I finally got a chance to buy my own copies. So I did, and I bought this entire second trilogy. And the other books they had there I already owned. So I already have Heroes and Best Served Cold. But yeah, fanboy.
Sweet.
Fanboy much.
But when it comes to Vikings, that theme tune is really brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately, now ITV, every time
They keep
put
using
on
it for Yord Scott.
Yord Scott, and I think, is the next season of Vikings? No, they won't be.
I've only seen the first season, so don't go too far into the spoilers.
That's fine.
I've had to sleep.
I'm not spoilering. I'm just saying that every time the Jorgen Scott comes on, I go, Vikings! Oh, no,
it's Yord Scott. Damn it. But you did something different while we were at the New Media.
I did. I went to the books versus comics versus games versus television.
Right.
Which, in the same way as kind of the sci-fi versus the fantasy, you had one person from each category that had to say why theirs was the best. And then say why everybody else's was the worst and what was a great example of theirs, and then after a while throw it onto the floor. It was incredibly funny, and it was saying about the use of television is the most widely watched, where with comics say it creates bits of time and it has unlimited special effects budgets, and so did books. And then it was Paul Cornell was on the representing comics.
Yeah.
And halfway through, he said, sod this, and got the books and put it all over both and put it in the middle. So comics and books went together.
Because Jonathan Green was on books, right?
Jonathan Green was on
games.
games.
Was games, was it? Okay.
But that led to issues because he was saying about my games books, and they were saying yes, your games books.
So books won it, didn't it? I think
Books did win.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
books I think was always going to win, and yet again they said I don't believe a word I'm saying. Carried on.
Cool.
So then books and comics did separate towards the end. So yeah, it was a really, really good, really entertaining panel, and books won.
Yeah.
Then I think we all went for a break again and then came back for our last thing before we left, which was the MMORPG show.
And that was fucking awesome. I'm sorry, but I was so close to starting a Wash Breeze Twitter account for Wash Breeze the Wizard. If anyone knows who the guy playing Wash Breeze was, just give him a high five from the NerdVsWorld crew.
Absolutely.
He was hilarious. In fact, all three of the gamers they were all great, and I don't think that show would have worked quite so well if they hadn't been picked, or if they picked gamers who were slightly more nervous, because they just fell right into it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was stunning. Go on, tell them how it worked.
Okay, so essentially it's the MMORPG show. So obviously MMORPG is massively multiplayer online role-playing game, but in this stage it was massively multiplayer on-stage role-playing game. So he picked 3 members of the audience to play characters, and it was essentially an interactive D&D style adventure where he had a giant bouncy D20 that got thrown off the stage into the audience to see whether they succeeded in their various tasks. So he basically had planned out the scenario with various places that it could go, various things that could occur. They bumped into characters based on his parents who were amusing. They spent most of the time trying to cross a bridge.
So what happened is we pulled the 3 people out. So the first person he pulled out was an elf, and it was a lady elf. And she was called something beginning with E, but they could never remember. So
Elrith the Archer.
It kept changing between Eric and all sorts of things.
I would have gone Elrith spelled with an S, but have the elf have a lisp for the entire thing.
And then they had to do a little game at the start to see if they could start with any extra XP. So there was an elf game at the start, and then the next guy who was pulled up was Washbreeze.
Washbreeze the wizard.
And
So you had to do a magic trick. That was pretty cool.
And then they got sent off to do their character sheets, and then finally they pulled up a dwarf warrior called Banjo.
But they pulled up two warriors, and they had to fight it out in the Coliseum, which was... Actually, I'm not going to say what it was.
No, I'm not saying what they are.
Yeah. But there was an epic battle.
So there was any battle between two contestants.
Between the two fighters for who was going to get on the stage.
And then the chap that won went off to fill in his character sheet. And they got given their extra XP. And so it was Washbreeze, Banjo, and
Elrith.
So
who got put in a cave.
Yeah, they were talked through the adventure. They were levelled up and got all sorts of wonderful surprises for levelling up, and had spell casting, and it was and
and there was so much there. You just go, oh yeah.
It could have gone on for at least another hour, and we'd still have all been entertained, I think.
I hurt afterwards because my stomach hurt from laughing too much.
Yeah, I was literally crying with laughter at one point. It was so funny.
There was one point where I lost my spine and just collapsed.
So this is another one. It's from the same guy who was Treguard in Nightmare Live. Who's obviously a massive gaming nerd, and has decided to take this idea on tour with him. So if you get the chance to see the MMORPG show live, go.
You have to.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
If you know anything about D&D or just want to go and be amused, then please do, and haggle for bonuses. Go get in the crowd and haggle for bonuses.
There was a lot of crowd interaction.
Yeah.
And it was only the second time that had been performed.
Yes.
So we were very lucky.
And and it was so good. The fact that they let the room in and then had to kick everybody out of the room again and give them raffle tickets. And people were grumbling because people like to grumble. But the fact that no one was grumbling about any of it by the end of it was testament to how fucking awesome the show was.
It was fantastic and was a wonderful way to round off the convention.
Perfect way to round off. After that, it was the drive back to Oxford.
Back to civilization.
Yeah.
And normality.
Back to watch Vikings and ignore the book pile that I have.
But there was so much more I could have done that weekend. Yeah. If only I could clone myself.
There are something like 15 or 16 different tracks, all with stuff happening concurrently for the entire weekend. Yeah. So, as I touched on briefly earlier, the con is what you want to make of it. Make your own plan. Their online planner is fantastic because you can just choose what you want and then save it, and then you've got your own con planner there, so you can see at a glance what's going on next, because it automatically removes entries as time progresses over the course of the weekend. So you always see what's coming up next that you were interested in.
If you're interested in 2 or 3 things, you just got 2 or 3 things rather than the 15 to choose between when the time comes.
Yeah, so then you're not leafing through the programme. So if you spend the kind of half an hour before you get to the con planning stuff out using the online planner, the weekend becomes so much easier. Yeah.
And I think, as per normal in conventions, had we have been in the con hotel, we would have had more time around, because
I was happy in the hotel I was in.
Yes,
Because
I
with the
loved
amount of
hotel.
McDonald's I was eating, I was quite glad of the walk
Yeah,
to and from the
15 minute
hotel.
walk, yeah.
But every time you're in the Con Hotel or close, it always means that you can spend more time doing things rather than running back for showers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to get changed and to eat and
But yes, we did need the walk.
Yeah.
yeah.
I definitely did the walks.
Yeah.
Just so you walk past McDonald's on the walk.
Yes.
That was the flaw in my logic. Oh, McDonald's! What's going on at McDonald's? Continue my walk with a milkshake and double cheeseburger. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah.
So, overall,
I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't encounter too many hiccups. Queuing for Nightmare Live was probably the most annoying thing of the weekend, but, you know, you just
There was a
get on
technical
with it.
glitch.
If there's a hitch, there's a hitch. You just can't be helped. It is what it is. Maybe slightly more communication as to what was going on would have helped. But at the end of the day, what can you do? It happened. Didn't affect the enjoyment of the show. The show was still fantastic. Didn't affect my opinion of the weekend. The weekend was still fantastic.
Just twice as many hotel staff, please.
Yeah, but that's not really a con issue, is it? It's
No,
a
it's
hotel
not a
issue.
con.
yeah, that's
So-
the hotel. I don't know, I guess another disappointment for me was the lack of traders
Yes,
over the
that's
weekend.
true.
So there was Genki Gear and Forbidden Planet there all weekend.
Yeah.
But no one else. No, there was a pop-up market on the Sunday
Yeah.
where people came along. But
It was so popular that you couldn't get close
yeah,
to the stall.
I just, I don't know why there wasn't traders there all weekend. So
I think it was a capacity issue. because
probably.
The main room, the Commonwealth, was where the traders were the last year, but then they needed it for the gaming area and they needed it for another big room,
Yeah.
so they had nowhere really to put the traders, and it was probably health and safety with trying to get round or whatever, or having to keep putting them up and taking them down that the traders might not have been happy with. I sometimes wish that something like Game of Thrones panel could have been in a bigger room so that I could have got access to it. So, you know, sizing
so maybe
issues.
rejigging the rooms based on what's going to be popular.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, maybe, because the MMORPG show was in a fairly small room and that was
That was
insanely
County
popular.
C&D, and that could have done with being the whole of
Yeah,
County.
that was massively popular. Yeah, that'd be the thing. Maybe try and anticipate the popularity of certain panels and put them into size-appropriate rooms. I suppose if I'd missed the panels that I really wanted to see, I'd have been complaining about it. So yeah.
I think as it transpired, I think we only missed one panel that we wanted to go to because it was full.
And we learnt from that, and we started queuing half an hour
But
before
yeah,
every
a lot
panel.
earlier, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which kind of is a little bit shitty, because I know that Sue and Andy wanted to go to MMORPG show, but they were in that room for the panel beforehand.
Right.
So the queue had already started before that panel had kicked out, which was the social gaming one. So by the time they kicked out, they went to join the back of the queue, and
Yeah.
there was two people in the queue they couldn't get in. So I don't know, maybe they should have a system where they don't open the queue for a particular room to a certain point. I don't know, but
Who knows?
who knows?
But that's, yeah. All in all, yeah, a fantastic weekend. So
Yeah.
thoroughly recommend it once again. Tickets are on sale now for next year. So, yeah, if you want to come along, go, get booked, come along, take part, enjoy. Hopefully we'll be back doing more next year on the podcasting track, potentially on the future tech track again for me, and a couple of other bits and bobs.
Potentially on the being a geek in academic track for
Yeah,
me.
indeed.
Definitely up for it. I'm up for the podcast quiz because, like, I want to win it.
You want one of those golden mics,
I
don't you?
really do. I really, really do.
I really wanted one.
Cool. Well, that's it. That's 50 episodes.
Indeed, yeah. Wow. Yes. Well, as we're still on cons, and before we finish off, we have the new feature to do, which is the flash pitches.
Flash pitches.
So what we're doing is we're getting people to send in 60-second pitches for their conventions, and then we'll play them, put them in as part of the podcast, and maybe discuss them. Maybe, I don't know, depends what they are. So we've got our first one here, which is for Sci-Fi Wales.
Geeks rule the world. Yes, they do. And in September 2015, in the Welsh town of Llandudno, a whole collection of awesome, geeky people will be spending a fantastic Saturday together. Sci-Fi Wales, a whole day of fun, where you can meet guests from such shows as Doctor Who, Red Dwarf, The Worlds of Jerry Anderson, Farscape, Star Wars, Mad Max, Game of Thrones, and join those guests for Q&A panels, photo opportunities, autograph signings, and more. There'll be lots of things for you to buy from a huge range of traders. Exclusive attractions such as the book launch of Jerry Anderson's Gemini Force 1, Ghost Mine, and even the ability for you to send a message into space. Yes, you heard that right. You can send a message into space.
The final frontier.
Tickets are available now from www.sci-fi.wales and... Oh, hang on, I forgot to mention that I'll be there too. I'm Richard James from Jerry Anderson's Space Precinct. And if you're at Sci-Fi Wales, and why wouldn't you be, come and say hello.
So, there we go. Sci-Fi Wales. If that's your kind of bag, then get yourselves along. Tickets are on sale now. Cool. So, yes, as we were saying.
September.
50th episode.
Yes. I don't know how we've done it.
We've made it.
We've made it this far.
Half a century.
So, yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out with us.
Bearing with us.
Listening to us and nerding out with us. Thank you for the feedback on Twitter, on the Facebook page. Thank you for your nerd judications. Thank you for getting involved, keeping us going, and being awesome.
Yeah, indeed. And yeah, now get your flash pictures recorded for your events and send them in.
And here's to 50 more. Because I've got another doozy of episode title for episode 100. So we've got to get this so I can use it. Cool. That's all for this week, though. Thanks all for listening. I've been Brendan.
I've been Spindles.
And I've been Emma.
And until next time, take care and be excellent to each other.